Howdy, y'all. It's Cody from the Keeper's Nerdum. How you doing? I'm joined once again by my friend Blaine.
Hey.
And we are going to jump into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and try to rank these things together. One extra rule that we're going to add on this, we'll have some discussion as needed, but we'll try to move pretty quickly, but there's going to be moments I'm sure where we'll pause to really have a bit of discussion. But each one of us has one vote to change a thing to where we see it needs to be, period. Okay? So you get one through all of the cinematic universe. That's a lot. So if you don't agree with what I'm saying, or I don't agree with what you're saying, you can go, all right, no, I'm using my one to jump it somewhere else. Okay? Here we go. So we're going to start, and most of these are, at least at the start, are in order. So we've got a decent thing. Actually, they're not in order at all. There's no way. Oh, no. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is there. Okay. So we have Iron Man 1. First film, starts it all. Where is it, Blaine?
I'm going to put that one in A or S tier. I love that movie, especially for its first Marvel movie. I think it did really well.
Absolutely. It is actually my favorite of all of the MCU because of just one scene that we talked about where he tests the Mark II suit. So it's really the first Iron Man suit that's actually developed beyond just scraps. And he lets it just flex and has Jarvis just flex all the plates to test everything. And the camera is just panning around the suit, and it's CGI for a lot of it, but yet it looks so good.
It's really well done for CGI compared to, Doctor Strange movie.
Yes. And so we're going to talk about those as we go, but are we good? Is it okay for us to go S tier?
I could do that, yeah.
For me, it is my number one film, period, just because it hits every detail, and Robert Downey Jr. just gets to go and act. And I think Iron Man 2 and 3, you get to see that too, but they're not as good of films as Iron Man 1. All right, second film, The Hulk.
I don't know. I didn't really enjoy that movie, but I also am not really a Hulk fan.
Okay.
I'd put it maybe B tier.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I actually really, really enjoy that film. But I can totally be fine with that because I think Edward Norton would have been so interesting. I think Mark Ruffalo did a great job later on. But it was a great concept film for Hulk. And then we've never had a Hulk movie since. And I think it's had to do with some movie rights stuff issues is why. All right. Iron Man 2 is our next thing on here. I'll just put it in the middle here. Where do you feel on this one, Blaine?
I know you don't like this movie that much, but I enjoy this movie as it was my first Marvel movie.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. This was my first Marvel movie that I watched. Don't know why, but I enjoyed it. I understand why you don't enjoy it as much because of the villain. Mm-hmm. I like the villain for the design, the Whiplash part, not so much as the Crimson Dynamo part.
Yeah. And this was a discussion we had that was really interesting, that if you know source material of what a character is supposed to be, sometimes that can really mess with your appreciation of what a character is supposed to be and do versus what they chose to do in the MCU. And I think this movie helped me prepare for other things that weren't the thing that they used to be, but it frustrated me with sometimes the plot was just plotting and random all over the place and just that not much was happening. But then Whiplash becomes Whiplash and Crimson Dynamo put together, and then he dies at the end, so we can't ever have him again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to see him just lean into one of those two, because if he's Crimson Dynamo, that's fine. But if he's Whiplash, that's fine. Both, I was just like, man, we lost both villains in one movie, and we're not going to see him again. So where do you put this one at?
I put it in A tier or B tier.
Okay. So I'll let you kind of move with that. I'm fine with that because I'm lower on rating with it, but I'm not too hardcore on it.
You can put it in B tier. It'll be fine.
Okay.
I put it above Hulk, though.
That's fair. All right. First Thor film.
I know it was kind of slow for a Thor movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, compared to the new two Thor movies.
Yeah.
The first two versus the second two. I enjoy the first two more personally.
Okay.
So I'd put that one in A tier.
Okay.
I like how it gives him the actual how Thor became Thor.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's one of those films of how do you make a a deity type being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have a story arc that's interesting and profound. In this one, they did it by taking away his powers and letting him discover himself. And so I'm right there with you. I think A tier is great, and I think it's a good film. So I'm fine with that too. Captain America: The First Avenger.
I don't remember this movie much.
Okay, so then I'll talk a little bit about here. This film, I appreciate it in the sense that it tried to be a film that's similar to the 40s style of making a movie, but in doing so, it feels cheesy at times as well. Who plays Steve Rogers? My goodness. Chris Evans. Fantastic, right? He's perfect for the role. He knocks it out of the park. And I think he makes it good. I just don't know that it's that great of a film in what we get overall. I appreciate what they're doing, but I'm kind of willing to even go, I don't think it's C tier, but I think at least B.
I can do that.
And to me, it's behind Hulk because it's cheesier than Hulk because Hulk was trying to be a serious film. So yeah, that's where I would put that one. Interesting concepts, sets up some other stuff for sure, but yeah. All right, The Avengers, D tier.
Put that at A tier.
And if you haven't noticed, obviously not you, but our audience, Captain Marvel is our lowest rating because, we'll get to it, but she's down there for a reason. So the first Avengers film,
that was against Loki, correct?
Loki and the aliens. What are they called? Chitauri. Yeah, Chitauri. So yeah, and we get the Thanos setup stuff throughout some of the films there.
Was this the first film they showed the Infinity Stones? Because I know there's technically 2 in there, but I don't know if they.
No, I don't think they showed the Infinity Stones yet. But yeah, there's stones present, obviously, with the Cosmic Cube and then the staff thing. Mm-hmm. But this is the first ensemble movie that we get a big team up, epicness. Loki has just changed so much over the years now.
Loki was like a cool villain back then. Now he's a weird hero.
Yeah, I think they realized with Tom Hiddleston that they had somebody that was just amazing in so many different levels. So where would you put the first Avengers film?
I'd put it in at least A tier.
Absolutely.
If not S tier.
Ooh, really?
I enjoy that movie a lot.
Okay. You know what? I'm
at least A tier. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. No, I like this movie too, just because it gives us them interacting for the first time and the distrust and the insanity. What do you do with a Hulk? What do you do when you got a narcissistic personality in Tony Stark and tries to fight?
Are trying to fight a god.
A Norse god. It's just not going to go well, but it makes for some really cool fight stuff. I'm willing to put it up for S tier for now, and we can kind of go from there. All right, next film, Iron Man 3.
I enjoyed that movie. I also enjoyed Potato Kid. He was funny.
Yes,
he was just kind of randomly there, but
yes,
he was helpful.
He is.
This is the movie where he goes to the store and makes a bunch of DIY gadgets, right? Yeah, I really enjoyed that part as he kind of shows how intelligent he truly is. Right. With just a bunch of random stuff that you couldn't get from the store.
Yeah. This is more a Robert Downey Jr. movie than an Iron Man movie for a lot of it. This movie, though, I was sold and changed in my whole perspective with this. Even though they messed up with Extremis and changed it a bit, I was fascinated because the comic story of it is so crazy good. The House Party Protocol.
Isn't that all of them?
All the suits.
Yeah, okay.
And him jumping between suits, and we get to see Silver Centurion, the Marvel Cinematic Universe equivalent, which is much bulkier and honestly is the coolest armor until I saw Blue Steel, which is the Silver Centurion, but blue. I am personally I'm on an S tier for this film. It's not as good as Iron Man 1, but it's darn good. Where are you at with it?
I'd put it in A or S tier.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards A tier.
Okay.
Just because I think there are better movies than it, but not saying...
I'll save it there for now, and we'll come back if I'm feeling the thing. Because I just... The problem for me is I got hooked on Iron Man when I saw the trailer for Iron Man 1. I was not an Iron Man fan until I saw the trailer for Iron Man 1 and just went, because before these movies, and some people don't realize that I grew up with these movies, Iron Man was a C-tier hero at best. Nobody cared. And then they got Robert Downey Jr. and they had a suit that looked fantastically interesting and cool.
Compared to the like bland, almost looks like he put a plate on his face.
Yes, and his arms were somehow metal but yet bendable, and then more modern stuff actually makes it look more like armor and really interesting. And I'm like, this gave us, whoa, what would happen if a billionaire took that money and decided, you know what, I'm going to build a super suit and it's going to be fun. It's like Batman, but with all the narcissism.
Yeah.
It just makes for a whole new level. And so,
Batman, but he decides he can kill.
Yes. And that's the thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're just like, you know what? You're a bad guy. You're gone. Thor: The Dark World.
I really enjoy this movie, especially compared to the latest movie where it was all jokes, but this one's actually serious in the movie.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that about movies, or at least the Marvel movies.
Yep.
Compared to the new Thor where he's only jokes, only this and that, where in this movie he's actually serious. He has heart for Jane.
Yeah.
So I'd put this movie in A tier.
Absolutely. I think I agree with you. It's funny how a movie that, is it slow? Yes. But does it have a good story that's interesting and moves? Yes. This story, this film has aged well, especially with the more modern Thor films. The third one I'd still say is probably better in ways.
Decent. I enjoyed that movie. Yeah, it was really jokey, but compared to
Thor Ragnarok's on an amazing level of it. You kind of get both sides of Thor, and I appreciate that. But Thor: The Dark World, I mean, it's intense and it's fascinating, and I think it has good stuff there too. So A tier, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Let's go for it. Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
I enjoyed that movie a lot.
Could we just agree right now that it's an S tier film?
I can do that, yeah.
I think... Yeah. Go.
Is this the one where him and Iron Man fight? Or is it this one after? I don't remember.
That's the one after. That's Civil War. That's not... It's
Civil
a Captain
okay,
America movie, but it's not. It's an Avengers film.
Yeah.
It's just they had to have...
No, it doesn't have Hulk and it doesn't have Thor. It's not Avengers.
Right. Right. And that's the funny thing.
But it has more people than the Avengers.
Why it's an Avengers film is because there's mostly the Avengers and it's a focus on several characters.
And comics-wise,
but the reason
almost all the Avengers.
It's a Captain America film is because I believe they had a contract for 3 films. So it's labeled as Captain America.
Good enough.
But it's just as much an Iron Man movie and a Black Panther movie as it is Captain America and Bucky. Like, it's these pieces. And I think that's really interesting. And I get that like Black Panther isn't a focus in part, but yet he loses his dad in that film, and it's really intense.
Now he's important because his dad died.
Yeah, but a great spy film, like so good. And it was so bizarrely different compared to Captain America, the First Avenger. So much more intense in a good way. All right, what do we got here? Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
I enjoyed and disliked this movie for 2 reasons.
Really?
I disliked it because it wasn't the Star-Lord I knew.
Okay. So you had experience with the comics.
Yes. I knew Star-Lord as a soldier, as a as a soldier type guy. He was doing orders and not super goofy. But in this movie, I really enjoyed Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, though.
Yeah.
So I'd put this movie for something that's not just on Earth. Because, I mean, Thor, it wasn't just on Earth, but this movie was everywhere.
Yeah.
And nowhere.
Okay. So where do you want it?
I'd put it in A tier.
You're in A tier? I agree. I love these films. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're silly, but on purpose. And even the Guardians in the comics, to some extent at times, are a group of misfits at the very least.
I mean, they have someone that would be fine with killing everyone, Gamora.
Yeah.
Drax, who just kind of wants to kill Ronan.
Because really, are they heroes all the time? The answer
No.
is
Not at all.
It's more like, yeah, and even in the cinematic universe, it's like money. Where would you put it? Because I would say at least in front of the Thor films.
I could do that.
Okay. Avengers: Age of Ultron.
S tier. That's one of my favorite films.
So you're going straight to S tier.
Yep.
At least here, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I agree, too. We talked about this prior to making this video because I was curious if there was going to be anything major that we would really disagree on. And there's things that we were slightly off for each other, but nothing so far that I've seen. And this is interesting because this is regarded ratings-wise not as high as some of the other films. But when talking...
I really enjoyed this movie.
This movie it's Tony Stark's hubris. It's watching the Avengers start to fall apart. It really leads to the Infinity Saga of the issues of the Avengers that they have different perspectives. And Captain America is a person of perspective from the 40s. And Iron Man is a person that is a perspective of modern day in that time frame, but also his own ego. And then you've got Thor, who doesn't understand some of these also dynamics. And all this stuff going together, and the battles in this are fantastic.
Ultron in this is probably one of my favorite. To be honest, I think Ultron in that movie is my favorite villain out of all the Marvel movies that I've seen.
Yeah.
Just because when it comes to robots, I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
But I enjoy how he sounds in this movie.
Yes, James Spader voices him and just knocks it out of the park. I wish they would have done a little bit more roboticness to it. Just a little. And I'm not saying like
I can agree with that.
Drastic,
just
but
a tiny
there's
bit,
moments where he just sounds like James Spader. And I love James Spader, but I wish I was like, just good, just a little bit more. But he's so good. Because like anytime he's on screen on anything, James Spader himself at all, but also this movie has like the coolest Iron Man fight you can ever see, I think, in any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Isn't that where he fights Ultron?
No. Well,
which one?
I'm not talking about that. Hulkbuster.
Oh, okay.
And Hulk. Coolest fight ever. And the concept is amazing and so much fun. So I'm totally with you right there. First Ant-Man.
The villain in this was
Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, Yellow Jacket.
And as we know, he'll return.
Shouldn't have.
Where do you find yourself on this film?
I put it in high B tier, low A tier.
Okay.
For one reason. Mexican Man. I really enjoyed him.
His friend, I can't remember his name, but it's so good. And then he's not even in the third film that I remember. And it's sad because he is fun.
He was the carry for that film.
I'm gonna definitely put it at least the low A tier because I could even say for me, are you okay if I put it in front of The Dark World?
That's fine.
I really do enjoy the first Ant-Man film because it kind of took us back to, okay, let's slow things down a bit. And it's still insanity of the power that he has, but yet it's a smaller scope, literally as well, of world-ending consequences. No, it's tech, and someone stealing the tech and using it for their own whims. And I'll be honest, the scene where the guy that's running Hank Pym's business and is taken over and shrinks that guy into goo and just wipes it off on the floor and then throws it in the trash can, just disgusted me, but also was like, okay, this power is bonkers. So, yeah, I agree. Good film there. Civil War, Captain Marvel level, pretty bad.
Are you stupid?
All right, where would you put it?
I'd put it in high A tier, low S tier.
Okay. Definitely not the Civil War from the comics by any means. It's much smaller
it's like
scale.
Get that many heroes.
Yeah, but I think
so many contracts.
This movie is good. And once again, it's an Avengers film, and you can see it here. This image being used, it's Captain America and Iron Man facing off on what they should or shouldn't do based on what's happened in the world from Ultron incident and all these things. And it's funny because Tony's like, we should be regulated. And it's because of, who was to blame in the cinematic universe for Ultron, Tony Stark primarily, and then also Bruce Banner. And
also killing Tony's parents.
Yeah, like that's the other piece that's in here. Man,
I don't remember if Tony wanted him to die or just jail.
yeah. I'm good with S tier if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
That movie's fantastic.
I really enjoy the final fight. Two things that are kind of spoilers, but not really. Well, one's a spoiler. But
If you haven't watched that yet, come on now.
yeah. Iron Man, I think in Infinity War or Endgame, whatever, I don't remember. He actually gets melee like protection in his suit.
Yeah.
Like fist to fist kind of weapons.
Yeah. As a side note, it's always interesting to me. It seems like Tony Stark's armor gets weaker and weaker as the movies go. But I think it's also at times because he's fighting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Like
he was fighting
things
just a steroided up man versus here's a god that can do whatever he wants because of some
But it does
pebbles.
It does have a fascinating thing that his armor is so easily broken by Captain America's shield. Granted, what his shield's made out of.
Yeah.
But it was just like, wow, that was nothing as far as detail of what, I don't know, just the strength level. I don't know. Very interesting.
Speaking in detail, the one other thing I was going to add is for Captain America, when versus Avengers to Civil War or Winter Soldier, he loses the Avengers symbol.
Yes.
And then in
continuity, paying attention to detail. These early films paid attention to detail because they cared. And that's something that you're going to see here is our ratings for these are going to be high for these original films because they were paying attention to the detail.
And I think it was Endgame and Infinity War, he loses the star as well because he's no longer wanted for whatever.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange is our next one here. I was shocked that they did what they did with magic and the things that we saw. Like some people even said they got headaches that we went and saw this with because the buildings doing there
were so many
gyroscope stuff or kaleidoscope effect, which is really fun but interesting. What'd you think of the film?
I thought it was a good film. I enjoy him just because I like the magic and all the cool effects and designs he does.
Yeah.
I'd put it in A tier.
Okay. And I think that's fair. I enjoy it as well. The one challenge is once they introduce magic into the MCU, that opens so many doors of insanity. This film didn't have that issue necessarily, but it led to other issues.
Yeah.
So where would you put it in A tier?
Probably right there, to be honest.
Okay. That's fine with me. All right. Next one is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So we've got what is the actor's name?
The guy that played Ego?
Yeah.
I don't remember what his name is. I just know.
I mean, he's in Disney stuff all the time and has been for years, and I love him as an actor. Go.
I enjoy this movie a lot. I like how they actually made Star-Lord have feelings in it instead of just joking, as he just had to hear that his dad put cancer in his mom.
Yes.
And as a person, I'd probably do the same thing he did.
Yeah, he gets very mad and very upset, and understandably so. I think this is a weaker film than the first one.
I can agree with that.
Also,
it upsets me that Yondu dies.
One sad thing, that's true. One sad thing about the first Guardians of the Galaxy, they had the Nova Corps in that, and I was really hoping to see more of them, and they're gone, and we still haven't seen anything about Richard Rider and his whole concept of Marvel Comics stuff, and that's sad. But anyway, I'm okay with this being in somewhere in B tier.
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad. It's just not as strong as some of these other films.
I'd put it above Hulk, probably.
That's actually where I was thinking it should go.
Because I like Iron Man 1 better.
Yeah. The first Spider-Man with Tom Holland.
I thought that was later, to be honest.
Some of these may be out of order. I don't know. But
the villain in this was the Birdman, right?
Is that the first one?
I think so.
If it's the first one, yeah.
Because he doesn't date Zendaya in the first one.
Okay. So the second one is with Mysterio. The third one's with Doctor Strange.
And the other stuff. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. Can we just say these movies are fantastic? Or are you...
I'm okay with all of them except the third.
Okay, we'll get to that one. Because that has a little bit of different...
There's different stuff for the third one that I do and dislike.
Sure. But I'll be honest, I think they took the Vulture, a lame as all get out villain, and made it interesting and scary and creepy.
I love that they made him, instead of the, oh, he just has wings, green feathered wings with a weird beak, into an actual scary looking
Yes. Yes. Can we put this in S tier?
Either low S tier or high A tier.
Okay. I was thinking right here at the very end.
I can do that.
Okay. Because the fact that Michael Keaton's in it and he makes the Vulture actually interesting and have character and depth and personality, and you actually go, I care about this guy and his family, and this is a supervillain that is using the tech that they've been harvesting off of the stuff from the invasion from Avengers 1.
I like how they use that information.
Ah!
Because they also, not a very known villain, but Shocker. The
Yes!
punchy dude.
There's so much just little detail here that they're taking and moving with, and that's beautiful. Yeah, good call there. Man. Okay, Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, we're getting into some stuff here.
High A tier for me.
High A tier?
Yes.
You hear?
Yeah, I can hear. There.
Okay. Ooh, that's hard. I really like that movie a lot. Jeff
I did
Goldblum
too.
also is fantastic.
It was just... No, it wasn't that film. I enjoyed him,
Yeah.
but it was almost too jokey for me.
Yes,
For
and that's
what I was used to for Thor.
What's the guy that directed that film and then got to do Thor 4
I have no
by
idea.
himself?
Gross.
Taika Waititi. He voices Korg, the rock guy.
Oh, I enjoyed Korg
Yeah.
in the first film.
Yeah, I think this is fair. I like this film too, but story wise, it's silly and it's goofy, but it's also a part of it too. The first Black Panther.
I think it's a good movie, but I was never a truly big Black Panther fan.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed what they did with the suit and the vibranium and all that.
Yes.
So I'll let you choose for that one because I could put it almost anywhere except Captain Marvel tier or S tier.
See, I'm struggling with it too because it got so much hype when it first came out, and it wasn't that it was bad at all. I enjoyed it, but I never felt like it was a movie that I really was going, this is top tier Marvel, but it was good. Had a good story, had a good plot, dealing with, a long lost, is he a cousin technically of Killmonger?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting.
I enjoyed him in that movie, Killmonger.
Yeah. I just don't ever want to go back and watch it necessarily. It's not a film that I would say is bad. I'd say maybe it's right in front of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah.
Maybe Iron Man 2 for me, but that's up to you.
I'd put it there.
Okay. It's interesting. So far, we're very similar. Infinity War.
S tier for me.
D.
Are you stupid?
Let's get real, right? It's amazing. It is good. Where is it on for you for S tier?
I'd put it either right below Iron Man or...
Whoa.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Wow.
I enjoyed how they put all the characters and they went from not just, they're all going to stick together.
I think we need to change something anyway. Because the first Avengers versus Age of Ultron, I think I enjoy Age of Ultron better than the first Avengers. Let's do that first.
Yeah.
And then Winter Soldier. I mean, I enjoy Civil War better just because Iron Man's in it. That's the problem for me. I
actually enjoyed Civil War better because I...
Okay, all right. We're kind of adjusting here. Okay, so Infinity War, you're saying up here?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
But I really enjoyed Thanos and the concept of the Infinity Stones in this.
Yeah.
And I liked, I know it's sad, but what Thor went through in this movie. Just how he's going through. Because compared to Ragnarok, Thor was serious in this movie.
Right. Oh, dang it. I don't know that I disagree. It's just weird because, it was starting to get to the point of just so much insanity, but it was so good and we were so hyped because it was so fascinating.
And it deserved the hype. Definitely deserved it. Because I enjoyed what I was talking about earlier, the Iron Man suit in this. And how it actually had
Nights of Awesomeness. They're just like, sup? But then it's funny because in that it looks so weak, but it's also like you're going up against Thanos with Infinity Stones.
And he was holding...
He was holding his own for a while. It's pretty cool. Yeah. No, okay. All right. I appreciate so far what you've let me get away with Iron Man 1. And
I enjoy Iron Man.
Yeah. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now we need to watch Iron Man 1 tonight. Ant-Man and the Wasp. The Ghost was the bad guy, along with other...
Wasn't Ghost different in the comics?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He was I think it was a guy that was stealing corporate secrets.
Yeah. And this is just like, I gotta save my dad.
And she was a tortured person that got messed up. I'll be honest, I have not had a desire to go back and watch this in a very long time. And I would probably watch Captain America: The First Avenger over this one.
I could watch probably any other movie that's here over that one.
Are we going to say maybe, is it B tier or C tier?
I put it in C tier. I really didn't enjoy that movie that much.
I think that's the thing. Like, I remember watching it and having fun, but now I just go, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Wasp was interesting and fun to have her in there. Was that the one where they rescued Janet? I think so.
Yeah, that's the one.
And I don't know.
I don't even think they really show her rescuing her. They just kind of like, okay, Scott, go in there.
Something,
and then pick her up or something.
All right.
Yeah,
Captain Marvel. There she goes.
I will do it myself.
Please do. But now that you put it down there, now we're going to have to adjust. So, why?
We all know why.
Justify it. But no, not everybody does, because it's made $1 billion, Blaine. People think this movie is amazing. Why are you saying
it was a corporate lie?
F tier Captain Marvel. Bad. Why?
First of all, it's not in the Marvel from the comics. I don't even care that they changed the suit. That's fine. I understand why they changed the suit.
Keep this in mind. This is Carol Danvers, who is Captain Marvel in the comics. However, the original Captain Marvel is a different person from Kree. Well, I'm talking about at least the guy. One? Okay? And
the
actually...
guy or the girl? There's two. Jews, Cody.
What are you talking about, girl?
There's the one that had a red sash right here that wore a one piece that had a little lightning thing.
And it was a black suit?
Yeah.
That's Carol Danvers. She was known as Miss Marvel before that. They just skipped over
another Miss Marvel.
No. She was known as Miss Marvel, and now you're thinking Miss Marvel because of Kamala Khan.
There's too many.
I know. And so that's the thing.
Movie?
She was the second one. And so first you had Captain Marvel, that was a Kree guy from, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's all of a sudden blanking. I have a hero click and everything of him. And then Miss Marvel, that she got powers from Kree stuff and or other things, and then eventually upgraded to Captain Marvel with this kind of the suit that we see. So it just jumped.
I like the blue suit better, the Kree suit.
Okay. So why is this bad though?
Because it's Brie Larson.
Okay.
If they changed the actor, I probably would have liked it better.
She's wooden. Outside of the movie, so it doesn't directly influence the movie, but when you see it, it influences how you appreciate her. She's mean and rude and not nice.
And factually wrong.
Yeah. But then inside the film, she's just very wooden and very much like, the point of the film is, as long as you just take off the shackles of everything around you, this was where we started seeing this idea of just be yourself and you can be the best you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Marvel actually started changing and really started a downhill trend. And I think you're very right. The other thing that really gets me too is we get to see Phil Coulson and Nick Fury younger. And
I enjoyed those too.
Well, I enjoyed the concept at first until you realize like Nick Fury is nowhere near the person.
He's kind of an idiot.
Exactly. Like we start seeing him now as this not very interesting, not very like himself at all character. Granted, this is earlier in his time frame, but he's not some super spy, which everything implied from everything we'd seen was he was a super spy trained to be a super spy, and he's just a desk jockey. And it's like, no, that's not what we have seen here.
It's not the Nick Fury I've seen. That's not.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm ready for everything. I'm always like the Batman of this universe almost.
And yeah, they took it and messed with his character, and then his eyes scratched out by
a cat.
Not a cat, right? The Flarkin. And but it just made it stupid, and everybody else was stupid compared to Captain Marvel, and all of a sudden we have this person that's the most powerful of all.
Yeah.
And
a contingency plan that Nick Fury had is like, oh, I shouldn't call, I don't know, a god and Thor and versus, here's a lady that can shoot beams.
Right. And so the Infinity Saga stuff happens and he doesn't call her. And it's like, this doesn't make sense.
Oh, I'm dying. I better call a woman.
This is the movie that we start to see the attention to detail really start to fade. And maybe you could make a case for Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. But this one especially. And also, if you pay attention and you read the information about this film, there was many times where movie theaters and their owners were taking pictures and saying, okay, look, I have these first 3 rows sold out for Captain Marvel during this time frame. And it was like the opening weekend and even the next weekend, if memory serves. And then he'd be like, look, and theater full except for those first 3 rows, completely empty. As though Disney or something had bought seats.
So was it the first 3 rows that were full or
the first 3 rows, right next to the screen, just empty. Bought, paid for, but empty. And so you can say potentially made a lot of money.
So there's the first 3 rows that were bought, correct? All of it, the entire 3 rows.
2 or 3 usually. Usually 2 was at least
the entire section of that row.
Basically, yes.
What kind of person? Like, I know I'm not the most people person kind of thing, but who's gonna buy a seat in the front? I hardly know anyone that buys front seats in general.
Right.
But who's gonna buy it next to people? Like, all of those have to be correctly. So I have to put Janet, Jane, and Mike next to people, plus these 3 other people,
right,
and so on. That doesn't make sense.
Well, and that's why it's conspiracy theory technically in that sense. But someday I'm sure we're gonna see some sort of documentation, because it's like the conspiracy theory of it, rumor, happenstance, if you will, that Disney or some other part of the company may have purchased those tickets, and they don't have to report that necessarily in how much money the movie makes.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that they're paying themselves and also then paying the theater really too. Everything about this film is actually just not a good film.
And also the weird thing where it looks like she has a party with who are those, like, colored people? Not like colored, like, okay. They're like in costumes. There's red, there's purple, there's green, there's blue or something. And they have, like, I don't know, there's a triangle on top for one. There's a little squiggly on top.
In Captain
It's a kid's
Marvel?
show.
The Teletubbies?
Yeah.
What about
Looks
them?
like she has a party with the Teletubbies.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
When she gets paint all over herself with the kid.
Oh, when she's changing her suit. Okay.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame.
I love everything about this movie except Captain Marvel and the female scene. I don't know why that was necessary or why they put it in there.
I'll be honest. I don't really often want to go back and watch this film, even though there's some really amazing scenes in it.
I want to go back and watch this film, but cut out certain parts.
Yeah, the female only scene doesn't make sense, because I remember we went to eat afterwards, me and my wife, and I went, honey, how did that scene happen? She was like, what do you mean? They just showed up together. I'm like, yeah, but in that scene, in the timing, Scott Lang and Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, are in the van trying to fix it, get it ready, and the girls are supposed to apparently get the Infinity Gauntlet to them with Spider-Man, right? Because he shows up eventually.
Spider-Man just, hello?
When the all-girls scene shows up, who shows up in that scene? Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, who is supposed to be on the other side of this battlefield in the van,
helping
with Scott Lang to build it, because she knows more about it than probably Scott does.
Yeah. Because she's been working her entire life for it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Where Scott's been working
and
a few years.
And
-5.
Yeah. And she shows up in that scene over across the battlefield. So it's like,
why'd you leave?
Yeah. Why don't you just shrink the Infinity Gauntlet down?
I don't know. Why does Doctor Strange not do his with his arm like he did in Infinity War?
Yeah. It was epic, made tons of money, but I don't enjoy it because they started throwing things in there that didn't.
And this is where they
be.
truly added the multiverses thing, which I think is where it went truly downhill.
Multiverses?
Yeah.
How?
Because remember, okay.
Oh, yeah, when they go back
the
to return stones and
get the stones and return
get the stones. Yeah, right.
Because it's technically multiverses.
That's true. But the only thing is, you do have Captain America wielding shield and Mjolnir. Amazing scene.
I enjoyed a lot, but I really hated Thor in this movie. Except at the beginning. The beginning, he was full of hatred, super angry, and serious, which I really enjoyed. Because he killed Thanos and he's like, I went for the head, and kind of joking, but a full serious, and then he just went, I'm fat now.
I enjoy actually Fat Thor more than most people do, only because I think he's depressed. He gave up on life because he failed epically.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you pay attention to Thor throughout a lot of these stories, as it continues on, he fails all the time. And that's what's weird. It's like, okay.
He also has a really sad past. Like, his brother died.
Yeah.
His sister, he killed his sister.
Well, we haven't gotten... Oh, we did get to that already, yeah.
His mom, his dad died. All his friends died. His entire planet's gone.
Right.
Planet. And all his half of his people, if it's the half, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it looked like Thanos killed the entire ship. Because that's what it looked like.
So where do you want to put it? I know. I'm struggling with this one.
Top of B tier almost.
Top of B? Okay.
Maybe low A. I enjoyed the movie. It's just, there was...
I know, and that's just it. Like, you enjoy the film, but there's parts in it that are just obnoxious. Brie Larson is in here. Why did Captain Marvel make even as much money as it did? In part because it was sandwiched in between the Infinity War saga and made you think that she was going to be some important detail. She fought with Thanos for a little bit and carried the Infinity Gauntlet for a bit.
Yeah.
She didn't really have much impact in the film.
She helped fight Thanos in the beginning.
Yeah, cool.
And it was...
We didn't need her. Thor could have done it.
Yeah.
Thor could have held him.
Thor did it anyway.
Yeah, it's just... anyway.
Because her in this movie, she's like, acts super tough and strong, and Thor's just like, I like this one.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you like this one?
Yeah, tell us more.
So a hammer flew by her, and she didn't wince. Oh,
Right.
I don't know. Hulk could do that. Iron Man probably could do that. He could stop it if he wanted to, truly.
Yes.
Captain America, he would have been fine. So many people, the only people that would have winced were the so-called weaker characters or the jokey characters. Like
Scott Lang.
Scott Lang would have. He probably would have been like,
Wasp
"Ooh."
wouldn't have.
No,
You know why?
she would have been fine.
Because in...
She was dead.
No. Well, unfortunately, and this sounds terrible, but we were starting to get to this point of girl boss power that was starting to seep into Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The thing is, I thought she was doing girl boss fine in the Wasp.
Okay.
I didn't think it was actually that bad
No, I didn't either.
in the first two Ant-Man movies.
Because we didn't catch it. Well, the first one, she was just kind of there. She didn't have a suit.
She was
The second
like,
one, she actually has a suit, and all of a sudden, she's amazing compared to Scott. To be fair, she has wings, and
she has
probably
wings,
more training.
blasters, and much more training. And her dad probably.
And Hank Pym also goes, yeah, totally designed her a better suit than you.
Yeah. Why? Because it's my daughter.
And that's just it. We didn't catch it back then because it just made sense logically. So it was fine. But then Captain Marvel really put it on front and center, and then all of a sudden it just ramped to 11. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. All right, so we're good on that one. Let's move on. Now we're gonna have to start going Spider-Man: Far From Home with Mysterio. Once again,
that movie was weird.
It's different. I love the concept of it. Points back to Tony Stark, even though now he's gone, and it's all they blame Tony Stark. But to be fair, he was a narcissist that caused these things and didn't care about other people. And I'm like, huh.
And then he gets his family, and then he cares.
Yeah,
it shows character development.
Yeah, I don't think this one is as good as the first Spider-Man.
I can agree with that,
but I think it is a good film, and I could put it in the A tier pretty easily.
I'd put it in low A tier.
Okay.
Almost B tier because I don't like how they did Mysterio.
Okay. Really?
I didn't like the electronics. I liked his actual powers.
No, that's his thing.
Was it I'm fairly certain.
There may have been a point in the comics later where he got some sort of magic, but he was an illusionist special effects artist for Hollywood.
Because there was a comics that was just it's his actual powers.
That was his actual thing initially.
Oh, okay.
Like, so they were really honing in on mastery of illusionary stuff, and I'm like, that's pretty fun. So
they did really well for that. I can say that.
Okay.
It almost felt like he didn't have the Reality Stone, but it almost felt like he did.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we got a few shows in here as well. We're not going to hit all of them because some of the more recent ones are just bad. WandaVision. Have you seen it?
Kind of.
Okay.
I've seen random episodes.
The concept is really cool. But unfortunately, Wanda does some crazy, nutty stuff and then just gets to walk away.
Yeah.
The logic in the show doesn't fully make sense.
She was in the until like this show came out.
Right. I'm going to put her at C tier if that's okay.
I'd put her below.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just it. Like it started really interesting, and I love the concept of the black and white and moving through the eras. But then when it kind of unfolded, it wasn't as good as it was advertising. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, I forgot about this show.
I thought that was a good show. I enjoyed how they hated each other, but
Yes,
kind of
yes.
grew closer almost. Also, the actor for the new Captain America played a really good job at being hated.
Anthony. Oh, the
Yeah.
other guy.
Because
Yeah.
you always like, oh, if you hate this person and you're supposed to,
Right.
they're doing a good job at it.
So-
like the pink chick in Harry Potter.
Yes. Here's the problem with this, because everything about that show was really good until it got to the very end. And there's these, people that have now become terrorists who blowing stuff up. It doesn't make any sense that Anthony Mackie's Captain America says, you got to do better, Senator, and has this weird speech at the very end that doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
Do better. But what?
I am better.
What specifically? What are we talking about? Like that speech itself, you get to this big conclusion of, you just need to work it out. Well, how? I don't know. Bye.
It's not my problem.
And to me, that again, this shows the lack of writing. Like they had an interesting concept of what do you do with all these people that now have reappeared after the blip, and they didn't hit it. They did not explore it very well, and at the end, just do better, Senator. What?
Do what?
So
Not my problem.
I'll be honest. I think it's down in C tier as well, or even I can
I'd
make
put
a
it
case for
above-
D.
I'd put it above WandaVision
Okay.
just because overall I think it was better compared to just that last part.
Yeah.
That can go up there.
All right.
Up.
Loki.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird.
It's hard to follow because it's
so all over the place.
time travel and
In all the different Lokis, I really hated the kid.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the kid was meant to be hated
Okay.
because of how cocky he was and whatnot. And
I
then
could-
the female Loki, where there was like that
Yes.
connection with those two. I'm not saying Loki would not do that, but
in comics, there's some weird moments. But anyway,
in mythology,
yeah, it's even weird.
it's-
I'll say at least low B tier. I think it was interesting and fun. Is that
I can
fair?
do that, yeah.
It's confusing. I think that's a good way to put it at times, where it's just not. Yeah. Okay. The Black Widow movie.
This one's hard.
Why is it hard?
I really enjoyed almost everything about this movie except two parts. One, when it was released,
Yeah.
because she
It
was
was
dead.
several
She's
years
dead.
too late.
And two, Taskmaster.
They changed him to a her, and powers and concept were not anything
Yeah.
like what we had.
Instead of like him just watching them, he was just like, it's like digitally uploaded, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's computer assisted program stuff if memory serves.
Yeah. And I don't remember anything about Black Widow. For like the Red Room, I don't know if that's comic stuff or whatnot.
It is,
or,
and it's in here. I love Yelena Belova in this.
she was great in this movie.
Who's her mom in it?
I don't know, but I loved the Russian soldier dude.
Yes,
He was
that
great
was from
in that movie.
Stranger Things. The
Yeah, the cop, I think.
yeah, the sheriff guy.
He was funny.
I love him so much.
He pulls off the being a funny joke because he can, I guess.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna struggle with this one, but I think I might put this above Hulk.
I could do that too. Yeah.
Um,
It was just upsetting that what they did to Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed that concept. Like Jack of all trades being able to just look at someone fight and boom.
Yeah. If they had released this movie sooner and messed with Taskmaster a little bit more back to normal,
Just make him.
I could have seen
Just
this
hire
as an
him
A-
like he was
A tier.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
He's hired. You hire him. Blah blah blah.
Yep. All right, Shang-Chi. Have you seen it?
Compared, no,
Okay.
I've seen a decent amount, and compared to for what I've seen, compared to a lot of the newer movies,
Yeah.
it wasn't bad.
Correct. And that would be my assessment here. I think
Because wasn't it decently serious for
it was decently serious.
a newer Marvel movie?
It actually had some interesting stuff going on. A character returns from earlier, actually Iron Man films that you never thought you'd see again, and has an interesting kind of redemption arc, and it's hilarious.
Who?
Trevor from Iron Man 3, the guy playing the Mandarin.
Oh, you mean the actor? Or,
Yes, the actor.
So the actor
in the movie.
Mandarin or the
Yeah.
Mandarin?
The actor Mandarin. Hello, my name is Trevor.
Yeah, he was so stupid.
He's
I thought
back
he was
in this.
funny. He
Yeah.
was just like, I'm just an actor.
Yes.
What?
And he actually gets a little bit of a redemption arc, and I think it's hilarious. I enjoyed this film, and I think it's decent. I'm going to put it somewhere around Hulk.
I could put it there. Yeah.
Because it's not bad by any means, but it's just not good. All right, Eternals. Let's get up here today, tier. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. You need to at one time.
I know nothing about the Eternals.
Okay.
Other than, like, it was a cosmic event. Like,
Yeah.
cosmic, this is a very dangerous event. First of all, where have they been this entire time?
Yes.
Second, why isn't anyone else helping this event? Is it invisible?
So first off, they do acknowledge that they don't interfere in most things, which is ironic when you pay attention in the film, though.
Thanos?
Yeah, they only interfere in certain situations, and it's like
Thanos?
this is
Loki?
weird. You'd have to watch the
Ultron.
film to kind of get that because they have a specific purpose that they're around.
Like the Watcher from...
Because they're
Animated.
meant to help birth the Celestials, the big god things like nowhere.
Oh, like
that
the
skull.
Isn't it 4 of them?
There's several.
4 basic ones?
I don't remember, but nowhere. The head,
Yeah.
that's a Celestial. So the problem with this film, too many characters, too many little stories, too much random crap going on. And then you get to the end and there's a Celestial that gets birthed out of Earth and you can see part of its head and hand and then it dies before it gets fully birthed.
Yeah.
And it has not ever been mentioned in any other media that I have seen of Marvel yet. I'm like, there is a literal head of a Celestial and hand sticking out of Earth, and nothing has been mentioned on here. I will actually tell you this. I think personally, this is F tier. It's Captain Marvel tier behind Captain Marvel.
Wasn't it also like super slow for a
Yes,
movie?
because there's so much that they're trying to tell you that I think it's even worse than Captain Marvel because you just go, I don't care about these people because they're trying to make me care. And
Yeah.
there's too much going, like
If
too
they
many
made-
stories.
Do you think if they made 2 movies out of that, like, would it be better?
I
Get rid of the head and the hand in the ocean?
I don't know. I think honestly it was a pointless movie.
Yeah.
Like there was just no good reason to even have it.
Because they put them in there, and when have we heard of them again?
Exactly. And I think we haven't heard of him again because it didn't do well. But it's just that it's a bad movie. It really was something that nobody should care about. The Hawkeye show. Have you
Yeah.
seen it?
Kind of.
Okay. I actually said to someone else, I actually enjoyed parts of it, but then at the end they're out in like the rollers or the ice skating rink and being attacked by tons and tons of thugs. And I'm like, any of them even has a submachine gun at all. This is over, and none of them do, and it's kind of stupid. And so like the show itself had really cool concepts, but then that scene and that silliness, I'm like, you're not even trying. Like story wise, they're just not trying.
I also don't like his daughter in this.
Who's
Not his daughter, but
the other
Didn't-
Hawkeye?
I thought his daughter should have been it.
Okay,
It wasn't.
that's true.
It was stupid.
That's very true.
Because-
so D tier at least.
Yeah. Because you see him training his daughter in Endgame?
Yeah,
Or Infinity War.
I think Infinity
I think it's
War
the
with
end credits
blip.
of Infinity War.
It's the blip happens.
Yeah.
and yeah,
It's so stupid that they called it that.
yeah.
But you see him training his daughter with
Right.
that comes out, and I was like, oh, that must be his daughter. And it wasn't. I'm like, that's
Right.
stupid.
Yep. Let's just keep moving because it's dumb. It's terrible. Spider-Man: No Way Home.
This is the movie that we might argue about a bit.
I don't know.
Because I enjoyed that they added both Spider-Mans from the stuff.
Yep.
But other than that, the movie kind of, yeah.
See, and that's just it. It's really a members berry movie, and to be fair, it got me because I miss
The old Spider-Man.
the first Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, yes.
And
The one in the middle,
Andrew Garfield.
I could
I
care
enjoyed
less.
him.
He's too cool. He's too
Yeah.
cool. Peter Parker's not that cool. That's the only problem.
Andrew Garfield's like, compared to, he was the cool guy in school. Peter Parker's
Yeah.
not.
Exactly. And that irritated me a little bit. But honestly, it was so good to have them both back.
Yeah.
And Tobey Maguire back again was, I mean, I'm over here like in a puddle of my own tears because just seeing him again in the Spider-Man suit, and he's like, I am the mature Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
And it's
the thing at the very end where Tobey Maguire stopping Peter from killing the Goblin, not because he wants the Goblin to live, but because he wants Peter to be different.
Yes. And that's just it. I think this has good story in it. And I think there's something to be said that the Spider-Man films, while the Marvel Cinematic Universe was starting to go downhill, they still had a decent quality to them of trying to tell a good story because we got to see Doc Ock again.
Yeah.
We got to see Electro again, Jamie Foxx, and William Dafoe.
The Sandman.
Oh, yeah. We have Andrew Molina for Doc Ock. Sandman, I don't know if the actor was even in it, though, because he was like always Sand, I think, for most of it.
Yeah.
But that was awesome.
Sandman.
Yes.
Because Sandman's, he's a villain, but in this movie they showed like his personality.
Right. And honestly, just seeing William Dafoe again, that the ability for him, and his mask isn't on most of the movie, and I love that because his face.
Which one is he?
Green Goblin.
Oh, okay.
He's just so good.
He plays such a great role.
Yeah.
Like, doing like from crazy to not crazy.
Yeah. So where would you put this?
It's so hard for me to put this one just because I really enjoyed but disliked. Just like one thing I really hated was just like Peter Parker, I know exactly how this dimension works because I know math.
Yeah, that's true.
And just like Doctor Strange could have stopped him so many ways.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think I enjoy this more than Far From Home with Mysterio, but it's in part because of the member berries, but also just the interesting story going on. It doesn't always make sense for everything.
Yeah.
Because afterwards, everybody forgets Spider-Man, which is okay, right? That changes things so that way they can go do more stories.
Yeah. And the one, like the web shooter that Doctor Strange gives them, this catches people. I mean, it makes sense, but just shoots it through Electro.
Yeah.
It's just like
a magic Pokeball.
Yeah. And it's like, here's a tree.
Yeah. Interesting. So, are you okay with right here?
Yeah, I could put it.
I think it is just that good with what it's trying to give us. All right, Quantum Mania, S tier, right?
I will hurt you.
Okay, good. All right. I will say first off, I did actually enjoy this film when I watched it. It does have some serious issues. His daughter is an absolute punk jerk that thinks she knows everything and somehow built quantum stuff. And
same with the wife.
That doesn't make any sense. Well, Janet could make more sense because she's studying
it's older. That she's helping the daughter during this.
Oh, okay. But just the fact that
she actually doing stuff makes sense. Her helping the daughter is kind of a stupid parent move.
Yeah. But also just the thing too is once they're in the quantum realm and Kang needs Ant-Man to shrink the time engine thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're already hooked up to it using it as power. Why can't you use it anyway and resize yourself? If you're so smart and all this, like,
I've never really enjoyed Kang. Like in the comics, I thought he was stupid.
Yeah.
In this, I thought he was more stupid.
Yeah, they didn't do a good job here. Where do you put this? I'll leave myself out of it because the more I think about that movie, it's bad.
That's just like when you first go see it. It's not bad, but when you
when you stop to think about the things.
Like
when you're just watching it, I honestly had a good time.
Yeah, I can do that. I honestly didn't think it was bad until they brought MODOK in.
Could we say it's better than Hawkeye? Because it at least has some redeeming qualities.
I just liked what they did to MODOK.
Sure.
Because that's two, again, villain characters that are
nowhere near the correct.
And no longer villains now. Because
that's true.
When his daughter was like, Scott Lang's daughter was like, you should just be happy. And he's like,
don't be a jerk.
But
But she says it in a funnier way. And then all of a sudden he's transformed. And you're like, what?
Yep.
This girl that he doesn't hardly even know at all and maybe saw in Ant-Man 1.
Kind of actually wanted to kill, I think.
Yeah, because he was trying to get to her in her room and murder the whole family. And that's about all he knows about her. And all of a sudden she's like, don't be a jerk. Oh, okay. This is weird. I think MODOK had brain damage. But anyway, Wakanda Forever.
I don't even remember anything about this movie.
Okay, then let me help you. Okay, solve the problem. Here's why.
It wasn't even about
Black Panther dies off screen because actual actor
actual actor
had
died.
passed away.
Yeah, which
So
is sad.
They didn't recast. They didn't do something.
Unlike Star Wars.
Yeah, and then we've got his sister Shuri, and she's terrible, and she's driven by grief, so that you could make the case for it. Namor is just really stupid, though. Crazy strong. Shuri goes and attacks them over water with a submarine boat, and it's like you're
Against the water people.
against
that
the
were,
water people.
like, super strong in
Yeah.
water.
And she has things that stop them, but it's like you know that they can get through your defenses in Wakanda, and then you're attacking them in their home, and the easiest for them to beat you.
Look, they just wanted you to stop doing stuff that ruined everyone.
Yeah, and then
So they wanted you to fix your mistake, and you're like, no.
yeah. Honestly, the only good part of this film is the M'Baku, the gorilla tribe guy.
Dude,
I
he
enjoyed
was,
him.
I just
Yeah.
love them.
He's fun because he actually tells her the truths of what she needs to hear, but she never listens, and it's frustrating because, granted, that could happen and that could be storyline, but it was just like everything you have done up to this point has failed, and you're losing people. But also the CGI in this film, the Dora Milaje and their armor suits looks very rubbery and bad, and then Ironheart is the same. We have gone from Iron Man 1, where other than the suit walking out of the cave, which looks kind of rubbery and fake,
But, I mean, it was their first movie. It was a long time ago.
years ago, right? Over a
But
decade ago.
For
from
how
that film.
good it was, like, for
Yes.
design, it was beautiful.
The fact that the CGI has gotten to this point, but it also goes down to
It just got,
bad
it was like,
story
they
writing.
went good and then back down.
Well, my understanding of it is they have now hit the point at Disney where they write so many versions of the scene and they send it to CGI that it costs crazy amounts of money. And so then they have to just
Yeah.
get lamer CGI because of how much they're costing. All right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Have you seen it yet?
Yes and no. I've
Okay.
seen a lot of stuff in it,
Yeah.
and I really want to watch it.
Yeah.
But
Where's-
I understand what they did with Gamora,
Uh-huh.
but it was so weird for me.
Yeah.
Just because I knew Gamora and him were kind
Right.
of a thing,
Right.
and then it's just like, I want to kill people
Okay.
because
I will tell you, for me, it's a better film than 2. And I don't even know where Volume 2. There it is.
yeah, it's right above it.
And I enjoyed.
I
it
enjoyed
better
the
than that.
story with Rocket.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great
Yeah.
story for
So
him.
can we at least put it in front of
Yeah.
that? I don't know if it's better than Black Panther 1, but it was good.
I need to watch it.
Okay. Have you watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special? I had to include these last few here because some of them were missing, and I think these are important. Not all the TV shows are on here because She-Hulk I haven't even watched because it looked so bad and so many things in it. I was just like, there's no point.
Yeah, I want to watch She-Hulk twerk.
Yeah, no thanks.
Wherever her face
Have you
is.
watched the holiday special?
I feel like I have. I just don't remember it. Like,
Then you
I'm
haven't
fairly
watched
certain I've watched it.
You haven't watched it then if you don't remember it.
I've seen.
Who's the primary people in it, and what do they do?
It's isn't it Groot?
No,
It's not Groot.
no, it's not great.
Okay, then I haven't watched
Okay, so the holiday special, I highly recommend anybody go watch it. Even spoiling it, it doesn't matter. It's that good, and I'll just tell you right now, it's in S tier. Like, I'm gonna have to put it for us in S tier, and the reason why, honestly, it's probably right there for now. I don't know. It's so hard. Our S tier is amazing. Iron Man 3 needs to move though.
What?
Okay, Drax and Mantis are the people they focus on.
Oh,
And they go
I remember.
kidnap Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I remember what you're talking about
But
now.
just Drax and Mantis.
And they're like bonding in their like stupidness.
Amazing. Yes, because
It was such
Drax just goes,
I remember
you're
it now.
stupid. And Mantis is like, no, I'm not the dumb one. And the whole movie, and they're just like stealing random stuff. Because it's Christmas time, and they're trying to get a Christmas present, I think, for Peter, because he's down. And it's just so fun. I'm like, I just give me a movie more of them. I don't care.
Like, they did a stupid movie
Yeah.
but since it was like a Christmas special, it did it well.
Well, and it's
Like,
also
they don't have
James
to-
Gunn still knows how to tell story. And that's the thing. Like his quality has not gone down. Multiverse of Madness.
Put it down.
Where?
There, yeah.
Yep.
I'd say it's worse than Eternals. I despise this movie because they put so many good characters, except the new Captain Marvel, which is weird.
Yep.
And they killed them all with stupid ways.
Yep.
It's like, why is she this powerful? I don't think she really is that strong compared
She's been reading the Darkhold.
She's been reading a book.
But the very least, it goes down here for me just for one thing, because that already is obnoxious. I love that we finally got to see John Krasinski.
They killed the guy off of Office.
Right. That's
and turned him into noodles.
Right? We had so many cool characters there. That's super obnoxious because, man, that should have been an awesome fight, and it wasn't. It was terrible.
That would have been an awesome fight. Her versus, he's a mutant. Not
Patrick Stewart, Professor X.
Voice man. No.
That's Black Bolt. He's
what is he?
He's from the moon. Crud.
They're not mutants.
No.
They're something else.
They're called something else, and I can't remember right now. There's a whole Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show and everything. But that's not on here either. It's interesting.
They actually have that entire race. And
what are they called? Oh, my goodness. Crystal's one of them.
Crystal, yeah, I remember her.
The girl with the hair is his wife.
I just remember it in a Guardians of the Galaxy animated show.
Yeah, I can't remember what their names are, and it's trying to.
But
it's going to hit me as soon as our video's over.
He's supposed to be a super strong leader of those people. He's been defending.
To be fair, when they all go, Black Bolt says one word, you're gone. And they gave the whole plan away before Black Bolt could do anything. Like,
one,
y'all done.
Okay, two things is one. I don't think that's how Black Bolt would have if he spoke. I don't think he would have killed himself through speaking in his mouth.
It's so weird because it's like, wouldn't you always damage yourself if you speak? Apparently, because your teeth and your lips and your tongue are still in the way.
But that's the thing. Like, if it can't get through his mouth, then shouldn't that not be damageable then?
Well, then it would reverberate inside and explode. I kind of got that, but it was just like,
still
who gave away the plot right there? But
and
honestly,
then him panicking over not being able to speak.
When you can't speak anyway most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a whisper will destroy mountains, I think, is the stuff.
Here's the thing. For me, this movie loses all sense of reality at the very end whenever basically Doctor Strange as a zombie shows up and goes, just believe in yourself. And all of a sudden she can use her powers
super well.
I mean, it was Captain Marvel all over again.
Yeah.
And it was worse in a way because we'd already learned the lessons of Captain Marvel of just believing in yourself. And yet, these are stupid. Don't just do that. You can't just do that. You have to learn and grow. She never trained. She didn't do anything. All of a sudden, I can just use my powers. That's not how this works. Bad movie.
One other thing about that movie, too, is Xavier.
Yeah.
That fight.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be behind you in your dream and snap your neck.
Inside of the Vision.
Yeah.
It's like what?
So you mean the man that.
But not inside the Vision, I guess, technically, because it was outside the Vision. But yet, it was
the man that listens to every.
Yeah.
I think it's at least every human and every mutant speak in his mind all at the same time.
Yep.
And he's used to that. And he's always able to just, I guess, ignore it.
Right.
But, Wanda is in his mind because she read it.
Oh, and the third eye at the end with the CGI. That's terrible. I forgot about that. Bad.
Okay, one thing I liked about this movie is the fight between Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange.
Okay,
the music fight.
Yeah.
Could they have changed the sound? Yes. The sound was horrible.
All right, you made a good case. It gets to move up past the Eternals.
No, it stays behind Eternals.
Really?
Yes.
You're just going to get
No, it still stays there.
But the music fight, that's true. That was really cool.
Yeah, but the music sucked and it made me want
But you haven't seen the Eternals.
I don't care. I will use my vote for this.
You're going to use your vote for that?
Yeah, I don't care. You can't.
I won't argue. That's funny.
I hate that.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
It can go above the Eternals if you really want. I hate that movie.
The goats, and also the storyline's stupid. They wasted Christian Bale.
They ruined. He was Gore, right?
Yes.
They ruined Gore. I loved Gore in the comics. He was so cool. How he got his sword, and technically it's not a sword, but that's not how it works.
When they started the film and he like killed the god, I was like, oh, this is going to be intense. But then I realized they never showed anything. They would never show any of it. So I don't think they showed the first god that he killed, and he just like walks away.
He just went. It was just like while he was being held up, and then
we didn't see it. And
you never see him kill anything.
Plus the CGI of the kid's face in that when they're trying to
speaking to the Heimdall's son.
Yeah, and what's really frustrating is I was so excited for Jane Foster as Thor because that was a comic thing that I thought was going to be fun and interesting. No, it's terrible. This is boring.
Another Captain Marvel thing.
And then she died. Can we just both agree it's down on Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where?
Maybe that. Nope. Mm-mm. Bottom is.
Is that one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put it.
That'd be fine. I don't know how bad Eternals is.
I don't know. It's so hard because I think Captain Marvel really is truly one of the worst because it ruins so much of stuff, and these are why these other movies exist. But maybe these are worse movies because of Captain Marvel. So I think that's fair.
But Thor. Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I was so hyped for it because it was released 3 years? It was like, it's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
And I was waiting because Thor is one of my favorite heroes.
Yeah.
He finally doesn't look like a fat slob. I mean, in the mythology, he's supposed to. But still, in this, he's too jokey.
Yeah.
Korg is gay or something, whatever. Hold hands.
It was just, thing that wasn't ever a thing in any of the other.
Why did they have to have Korg in this?
Introduced it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The goats for one, and
the goats were terrible. The first time I laughed, I did. I thought it was hilarious because my middle school brain kicked in, and then it just kept going. I'm like,
"Are you done?
Why? Like, stop! This isn't funny anymore, and you're just making it not good."
And the removed scene with Zeus and Thor, if they put that in there, I could put it in D tier almost.
Okay,
just because of that one scene.
And the other thing is, there's always for me a movie's going to be a bad movie, especially superhero movies, if your main villain is a smoke villain. And Gore the God Butcher several times was just summoning smoke monsters.
Yeah,
and they were somehow killing them, but then there was more. So it really, what impact did it have? The answer was nothing.
And what I really enjoyed about Gore in the comics is his sword is a symbiote. It's a weaponized symbiote because it's not an actual symbiote. What is this? Null, I think, is the god of symbiotes or something.
Might be.
I think it's Null.
I haven't read much of that.
I read a lot about these ones. But he's the god of symbiotes. He created it. That's his weapon. He's the one that killed the god that's nowhere.
Interesting.
But he created those weapons, and that's what that weapon is supposed to be. It doesn't. It's not supposed to summon things. That's just his weapon. And his weapon gets stronger the more gods he kills. Yeah. And we don't see him get stronger.
It had a good concept there, and then just Taika Waititi was given way too much freedom, and he blew it. Because apparently there's hours of extra footage of this film.
Hours? Oh.
Yeah.
Just give it to us.
And you're like, what? No. It's not like
it's not good?
Well, no, it's just his random ramblings because he just went, this would be funny, try this.
I almost want to see that just to be angry at it.
Right.
Just to understand. So this is what you put in there.
Yeah.
This All right. What I've put in there?
Real quick, is there anything that we need to change? I see one thing that I want to change.
What?
Iron Man 3 up to S tier. That's my only thing.
That's fine. I would put Thor Ragnarok behind the first Guardians.
Okay. Wow. It's intense.
And I put the first Thor above it.
Above Thor Ragnarok?
Yes. It was too funny.
Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
It is jokey. It is very funny.
And
okay. I'll give you that one.
Really enjoyed Thor for its seriousness.
Because those seem to be your films, so I'll let you kind of run with those.
I really enjoyed Thor's seriousness. Jane Foster in that movie, Odin in that movie, Heimdall in that movie. Just everything in that movie pretty much.
Okay.
Ragnarok, there is things I just wish didn't happen.
Yeah.
One thing is the Grandmaster. He's not that weak in the comics. He
didn't have any powers in this at all.
Yeah, he's almost a god in the comics.
Because he's like with the Collector.
Yeah.
And the Collector's also kind of dumbed down in this universe too. Like
Collector's a pushover in this.
Yes.
Because he's just like, I guess I'll do this.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I think overall this is that's fair. And I think you made some good points there. I will say Thor Ragnarok. I love Jeff Goldblum. Anytime I get to see him, because he's the Grandmaster,
Mhm.
and he's just funny. But yes, it's jokes. Man,
'Cause one thing in the Guardians of the Galaxy that I disliked was the Collector,
okay,
because, and if you've seen any of the animated shows, which they did really well for some reason,
yeah,
and the comics, he has so many weapons and like items because he's collecting pretty much one of everything.
yeah.
There's one weapon in the
Even the What If show on Disney had that where he just had tons of stuff, and
but that's what he does, because
Yeah.
I don't. It's not just nowhere where he is.
Right.
He has an entire, like, I think it's bigger than, like the Empire State Building, like much larger,
Yeah.
where he just has like plants, weapons, animals, species,
Yeah.
like entire things.
Well, it
which
almost
I really enjoyed
seemed like we had that with the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That he was almost like that more so. Because we saw stuff that the Collector had, but then we got to see the High Evolutionary. It just seemed like he was on a whole nother scale of just collecting random stuff just to improve things. Granted, not to just collect things to collect them.
But trying to.
But he had just so much stuff. It was just interesting.
One thing about the Collector, last thing about him,
Yeah.
is in the animated show, he has a weapon that is pretty much a Taskmaster weapon.
Okay.
It converts his weapon to your opponent's weakest, like, weakness.
Well,
So, like, if Gamora's using a sword,
mhm.
I think it converted to a shield with a gun.
Yeah.
And he was just able to fight back because, one, he's super strong, and he's trained himself for some reason.
Sure.
But he's got to protect himself somehow.
Yeah. Interesting. One other note I will say, and you know what? I'm gonna adjust one thing here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm gonna move up at least one tier for one
That's
reason.
fine.
Cosmo.
I remember
the
the
Soviet
Cosmo.
dog. I loved her.
I enjoyed her. Just like,
And I think it was
Call me
a
good.
boy dog in the comics. I think
it is. It's a male.
But honestly, it was fine, and it was kind of made it more funny because she was interacting so much with
Rocket.
New Yondu in this movie.
New Yondu,
He's
never-
obnoxious, but it was funny because he had at some point in the film called her a bad dog, and
Oh, yeah.
she was ticked.
I remember that. Just like the entire time, she's like, "Call me a good dog. You're a bad dog. Take it back."
And it was such a good, silly moment. I'm like, this is James Gunn. He can take these characters that nobody should care about and make them interesting and fun.
Because she's trying to fix like some kind of building, and Rocket gets upset with her, and she's like, "No, what? I'm not going to do it."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm sorry. Go do it. A good dog."
I'm close. There's just Iron Man 3 is still bugging me. I don't know why.
You gonna put it above Mantis and Drax, Cody?
It is Robert Downey Jr.
I think we have. No, we don't. Okay.
It's
I was
Robert
gonna
Downey
see. Do we
Jr.
have all the Iron Mans? On
No,
S tier?
Iron Man
No.
2 is B tier right now.
Yeah. I can say that.
That's yeah. I'll just keep it as such. Let's call it right there. I could definitely make a case for me that it's almost towards the top, but at the same time, Infinity War and all these other films are so good.
It's almost weird. Almost all of these films, Iron Man are in on the S tier.
That's true. The only ones that aren't are the Winter Soldier and the Holiday
I
Special.
thought he was in the Winter Soldier. Like, not for a lot, but for a little bit.
I don't think he is. Because I think it's just Captain America, Black Widow, and Nick Fury focused.
I don't remember, to be honest. Because
I don't think he is.
he might have been. I just truly don't remember.
Because it's all focused on using the helicarriers and Hail Hydra stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is the one where he's
Yeah.
fighting Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Not the one where he's...
Yeah.
Okay,
This
yeah.
is
the
just
fighting
its own
one.
focused
Okay,
film.
yeah. Okay, no, he's not.
And it takes something for me to put a Captain America film because he's just not a character I enjoy necessarily, but to have it that high, like, it just speaks to how good that film is. So, yeah, I think this is a good spot to stop. I want to adjust it, but at the same time, all of our S tier movies are there for a reason, and they're all really good. really good.
Which, what makes me happy is we have more good movies than bad movies.
Oh, I forgot. This is the last thing. The reason Iron Man 1 is S tier just for this is not Don Cheadle, the Terrence Howard that was Rhodey in that first film, where he looks over after Iron Man goes to save the day at the other suit, the Mark II.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, next time.
And then in the second movie.
And it's Don Cheadle now. And I love it because he never got to wear it. But I just love that they were setting it up and then they were like, yeah, we're changing actors. And it's funny, like, I don't like when they do that, and yet we're so used to Don Cheadle, and Don Cheadle just knocks it out of the park of being a military type person. It just like, okay, because Terrence Howard, his voice.
He didn't feel important.
Yeah.
He like didn't make himself feel important.
Yeah. I think if Don Cheadle would have been in there, even those exact same scenes would have been more of, all right, no. Instead of, I'm just your babysitter. It just felt weak, but it's also Terrence Howard's voice and how he portrays himself.
Because one thing I think it was in Civil War is Iron Man cared about him.
Yes.
But
yeah,
I know that's like character development, but still.
Yeah.
If it was the other guy, I don't think it would have been.
And I love in Iron Man 2 whenever he shows up, and Tony Stark, when Rhodey walks in the room, he says something to him. I can't remember exactly the line, but it's funny, like acknowledging that there's a change. Like there's something about, like,
it's like
you look different or something. It's like,
it's just like,
okay,
if you know, you know.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm Cody from the Keepers Nerdom, and I've been joined by Blaine. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Do you agree with our list? Obviously, probably not, because there's so many here. Like, I have a sneaking suspicion you're going to put Loki somewhere different than we do, or Black Panther. But it's hard because these are some films. But I would say it might be harder to make a case for the Captain Marvel tier movies to be somewhere else. If
Aren't you so happy about the Captain Marvels that's coming out, Cody?
Oh, yeah. The Marvels is coming out. It's going to be great. 10 out of 10.
Who's the third person?
So
is that
it's
the villain?
Kamala Khan, Miss Captain Marvel, and
Miss Marvel. And
Photon is her name, or Monica Rambeau, I think is her name.
The hand chick?
She was in WandaVision.
Yeah, the hand chick. Her hands get... Wait, no, not that one?
No.
A different one?
She was in WandaVision at the end where she passed through the barrier and slowly was getting powers at the very end of the show.
Oh, I thought it was the big hand chick from...
No, that's Miss Marvel. Kamala Khan.
I thought... So, is that who's in there?
There's the three of them are Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, the Kamala Khan that you're talking about.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And when they changed her powers up crazy in Marvel too. And then Monica Rambeau, who was the young girl in the first Captain Marvel movie back in the 90s. That's who that was.
African-American chick?
Yeah, she grew up and government agency stuff, and then walked through the barrier of Scarlet Witch and started getting powers. So she is an actual Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel throughout the eras as well, whenever Carol Danvers was gone in the
Captain Marvel
comics.
got her powers through the Tesseract.
It's a whole mess.
Did she get her real powers through the Tesseract in the comic?
No.
Okay, I thought it was
a
like
cartoon
some neutron
EMH
star
that actually had a great version of it where she absorbed DNA or power from the Kree Captain Marvel. And then she started flying in the cartoon, like in her hospital bed, like, guys. And honestly, I loved Captain Marvel in that show. Like Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel. She was so much fun. All right. Let us know down in the comments below what you think. Like, share, and subscribe. Take care.
Disagree with the last four, you're wrong.
Well, thank you, Blaine. Take care, y'all. Bye.